Hello fellow human, hope you guys have a great day and let's read some entitled parent stories. To the first one. Entitled parents think they can park in my driveway because their kids are cranky and want to get to the beach now. Get his car towed and nearly arrested. I used to live on the bottom floor of a two-story house in a very popular beach town in North Carolina. I was in mid-20s. The upstairs was rented out to 4 college-age guys. So, not a big deal, but finding a spot in the middle of the summer was hard. The house is maybe 100 yards to the beach, pretty short walk. 5 minutes tops with beach gear and little ones. I would leave to work at 6:30 a.m. and return around like 5 or 6 p.m. By the time I got home, most of the crowds would be gone, so a paid spot was easy for me to get. So I'd typically leave the driveway for the upstairs guy. One day I was running late and didn't get out of the house till nearly 8. The other guys have left and the driveway is empty. I'm walking out to my car and of course the lots are already 90% full or more. As I'm crossing the street, I see a minivan coming up and pull into my driveway. I didn't want to recognize it, so I waited to see if I knew them or they knew the upstairs guy. Out steps a polo shirt visor bowling short dad and overly peppy mom with 3 screaming kids, obviously no one I know. I backtrack up. Excuse me, do you know the tenants upstairs or have permissions to park here? It doesn't matter. No one's parked here and Billy, Bobby, and Brandy have to get to the beach. Me, well, there are 5 people living there, myself included, and we need to be able to park. Ow, so where's your car if you live there? Me, well, in that spot there because I have a pass and... don't lie to us. You're here just the same as us and upset we know how to park for free. Me, I'm not lying. Dude, it's 8 a.m. I'm wearing my work uniform. We don't need to listen to you. We're going to park and you can do whatever you want. My children have to get to the beach. You are ruining our vacation, so go away. Meanwhile, the kids are climbing on my fence and trees in and out of the street. Me, okay, I'll just have you tout and you can decide to deal with it later. Edie gets in my face, practically nose to nose. Try it and see. This isn't your house, you're just a little crap. Mind you, I'm 5'11", roughly 190 pounds, fairly good shape. Me, okay, have a nice day. So I went to my car and waited till they were pretty much at the beach like I said, very short walk, so I go inside, look up a town service on the other side of the town. Hello, yes, I'd like to report a car I legally parked on my property, address 123 street name. Sir, yeah, that's an hour away. Yeah, I know, I'm not playing, that's their problem. Okay, be there in about an hour and a half and called my boss, not gonna be in today, explained what happened. He's pretty easygoing guy, told me to keep him informed. Tow truck arrives, van gone, leave my car in the spot and wait. It's 10:30 a.m. or so by now. Sometime around like 2 or 3 p.m. there's a very angry knock at my door. Internal thoughts, this is gonna be fun. Imagine the shock when I answer the door, beer in hand, grinning like an idiot. Me, well, can I help you? Edie and M. Where is our van? How did you get here? Me, oh yeah, here's the card. Had it towed across town. Gonna be fun cab ride. Shut the door in their face. More angry yelling and knocking. Me, well, yes? Edie, trying to get into my house. You better get us our van back. I'm gonna kick your butt. I'll have you arrested. Me, get out of my house. Call the cops, not gonna change anything. I managed to shove him out of the door, get it closed and locked. Now, I wait. Next 20 minutes are more angry knocking and yelling. Finally, about like 4 p.m.-ish, I see some blue lights and there is a much more polite knock at my door. I grew up on a beach, it's a small number of locals, so I know like 70% of the locals, police, bartenders, shop owners, residents. I know a lot of people on the island. Me, oh hey Garrett, how is it going? Garrett, yeah it's good. These people say you stole their van and broke into this house. Me, no. They pulled into the driveway as I was leaving for work, pulled an attitude, walked away, said I couldn't do anything. So called Lou on the other side of the town. Van's there. I even gave them his card and offered to let them use my phone. He is lying. He stole our car and I demand he be arrested. Edie storms up behind the officer. If you don't arrest him, I'll have you fired. This is ridiculous. Blah, blah. Gee, well, sir, back up. I'm going to figure this out. Edie now shoving past the officer. This is bullcrap. Working his way into my house again, Garrett is able to pull him out and manage to get him pressed up against his cop car. Sir, you're trespassing now. Looking over at me. Would you like to press charges? Me, well, can you keep him in your car until they get a cab? Gee, yeah, I mean, I've got to get statements and everything. So I gave my statement, went inside, grabbed a beer, and went out the back door, up the back steps and around to the second floor porch, and there I sat smiling till a cab came about like 5 or 5:30 p.m. My upstairs neighbor showed up, but they didn't play any part in the story. Well, ED and M are lucky not to have more charges added onto the trespassing one and found out the hard way that a free parking spot is pretty expensive. The second story. Little entitled crab eats crab in aquarium store and mom defends him. Alright boys and girls, this seems super unbelievable, but when you have been working in the bed trade as a sales associate for long enough in weird areas, you start to see your fair share of entitled kids and crab-stained parents. My first of many stories, so don't be too harsh. For context, I work at a mom and pop pet store in the eastern US, and while my expertise is in aquatics, I try to be a jack of all trades. The day that this happened was rather uneventful until this point, all up until Little Crab, LS, and Pig Ducker, PF, entered the store. My store was pretty modest, so it was fairly easy to see customers come in and out, especially in the fish department. So I got the first look at these magnificent creatures, a 40-something years old woman talking on her cell, her hair obviously dyed blonde and outfit practically screaming midlife crisis while her child was in a towel. The kid must have been like 7 or 8. The kid was playing on his Switch, his shirt covered in what looked like a mixture of pizza sauce, soda, and plenty of mystery stains. At first, things were pretty normal, the kid originally not caring about anything in the store while PF was getting enraged at him for not paying attention, so that changed rather fast. PF and LS were near the ferrets when PF took LS' Switch, immediately causing a reaction of screaming and pouting before being distracted by some fish over my department. Alright, a bit of unnecessary information, but the way my store's fish department is set up is that 2/5 of it is fresh water, 2/5 is equipment, and the rest is salt water. Given we weren't really known for salt water, we only kept pretty generic yet sought after fish like hippo tanks, various clownfish, 6 land wrasses, etc. The thing about the first two is because Finding Nemo kids are always drawn into the Dories or Nemos. Alright, that all in mind, the first thing that Ellis did was head over to the small assortment of hippo tanks we had, practically pressing his crab-covered face against the glass as he yelled out "Dory" as loud as he could. PF held me down from algae scrubbing, and this started the encounter. I like to act casual around the workplace as I found it lowers any sort of anxiety a customer has and makes me way more approachable. First thing out of my mouth was, "Me, hey there, how's your night going? Need help with something?" PF started out our encounter with a roll of the eyes, pointing out to the tank and demanding a price with a simple but rude, "PF, how much for this thing?" Was the way she said it? That was rude. After shifting gears from a casual setting to a more professional one, I simply told her that the tank was $160. He was a good-sized tank. Of course, she scoffed, but what came next was a bit more worrying. PF pulled out a $30 from her purse and placed it on the desk we used to bag fish, saying in an aggravated tone, "PF, that's all you're getting. Back him." Things started to go poorly from there. It's worth noting that it was 5:15 at this point, the store having closed like 15 minutes ago, so we make it a policy not to ask customers leave until like 9:30. It was just my manager and myself at this point, my manager in the office closing down registers, so essentially it was like I was the only employee in the store. Seeing PF placing the $30 on the table, I raised my eyebrow before leaning against the wall, simply asking her, "Me, do you have a saltwater tank?" She didn't take this well. She screamed without a second passing. "PF, none of your ducking business. Now back my fist, you cocky little crap." I simply refused and slid her $30 back towards her before she slid it back, now more pissed off. PF, I'm going to get your butt fired if you don't back my fish right now. As this, LS was getting pissed at the interaction, screaming like a banshee about how he wanted a tank, still referring to it as Dory, and beginning to stomp his feet in a tantrum. Soon enough, I was asking them to leave. So this is where I screwed up. I should have called the cops at this point, knowing that she wasn't going to leave without a fight. LS was on the floor at this point, pounding his fist onto the floor as his snot dripped down his face as PF tried to guilt me. PF, I'm sorry, sweetie. This guy doesn't want you to have the fish. He's perfectly fine with you having no fish friend to make you happy. At this point, she turned back up to me. PF, do you see what you just did, you stupid duck? You're breaking my angel's heart because you're being too much of a Jew to sell me the fish. Internally, I was laughing. This kind of situation happened now and again, but the anti-Semitism was a new one. I had figured everything was starting to resolve at this point, though I was mistaken. LS flipped his crap. You know how some opera singers can break glass with their voice? This kid would have a knack for something like that. LS was screaming as loud as humanly possible at this point as he managed to reach into the tank. At last, my manager has made his way out of the office and watching what was going on. LS grabbed a piece of live rock, accidentally grabbing a long-spined urchin. Angry screaming turned right into wails of pain as he pulled out a rock out of the tank, a poor little pom-pom crab in tow. The kid had been clutching his hand while his mother tried to help him, something hanging out of his mouth. The little poor pom-pom crab had been crushed by this kid, LS having shoved it down into his mouth and chomping down on it, leaving little claw hanging out of his mouth. The next 2 minutes was a strange combination of astonishment and panic, myself telling the kid not to move his hand since he would break the spines of the urchin, while Pia began hitting me with her crappy purse, screaming that I hurt her kid. Me, your kid shoved his hand into a tank, one with toxic animals nonetheless, fox-faced rabbitfish, and did this to himself. Calm the duck down and leave him alone so when the paramedics get here, they can get the spines out. PF, how dare you? You expect me to let my angel suffer? If you just sold me the stupid fish, this would have never happened. Me, well, your kid reached into the tank and ate a crab. What the duck did you teach this kid? PF, don't you ever tell me how to raise my angel. He had the right to eat that crab. You took something from him and he took something from you. By the end of this interaction, the paramedics had arrived, restraining the kid and taking him into an ambulance as the police tried to sort things out. Unsurprisingly, Pierre tried to pin everything on me, seeing that I threw an urchin at him, like what the duck, and he ate a crab in a panic. Equally unsurprisingly, we had the entire thing on CCTV, including PF hitting me with her purse. Long story short, PF was arrested for aggravated assault as apparently she had stuffed the rock into her bag to give it the extra punch. Didn't notice until after the paramedics saw me that I was bleeding on my leg from the jagged live rock. After getting a statement from the cops left, PF and LS going off to wherever the hell the cops took them, and I got out of everything with 8 stitches and a $300 bonus from my boss for handling the situation without anyone getting seriously injured. From what I ended up hearing, the kid had actually got stung by the fox-faced dorsal spines that sent him into a blind rage. The mom got a plea deal and she ended up with a huge fine, some jail time, and some other crap. This was by far the worst situation I had ever had in the store, and I still can't believe the outcome of this till this day. This was 3 years ago. I was in work the other day when I say a pouting kid over a mom not let him get a hippo tank, and this has been brought to the front of my mind ever since. So my biggest question was that he ate it with the shell? The third story. EP tries to hit my pregnant mom, loses custody of his only child. Some context. I was 11 when this happened and my mom was about like 8-ish months pregnant with my little brother. Her live-in boyfriend was a massive waste of DNA and usually took his frustration out on me. But he thought I was at Mima's my grandmother because my mom's dietary changes while being pregnant was causing me health problems. I was over helping her with housework and had been playing games for about an hour at the time of the incident. So the a-hole had gotten home at about like 8 or 9 p.m. and he was already in a bad mood for some reason. My mom was going to see what was going on and ask him to stop shouting because last time the neighbors came over due to the noise volume and she didn't want to have to explain that one again, honestly. I didn't blame her. She's pregnant, her feet hurt, and she was in the hospital for kidney stones for like 3 days before this happened, so she's tired and frustrated. Apparently, a-hole decided he felt the need to be mad at her and started shouting obscenities at my mother, which led to me grabbing the baseball bat I kept under my bed and sneaking closer to hear. Well, right as I got within the range, I saw his flint fly up and I had seen that gesture before. He was aiming to hit my pregnant mother, so my first reaction was to swing that bat into his leg as hard as I could. And when he went down, I hit him maybe like 3 or 4 times at full force, mind you. And even though I was a child, I was certainly not weak and knew how to aim for his knee. And wrist apparently, I nailed his left wrist at one point. My mother called Mima and 911, which resulted in a cop car and an ambulance. The cops asked what happened as they loaded the man into an ambulance as he tried to say that I assaulted him unprompted. This was when Mima came to the rescue and interjected that 1, I have never hit someone without being hit first, and 2, a-hole and my mom were constantly fighting. She then said that they could ask the neighbors who verified the statement. When the cops then asked why I hit him so hard that I broke at least one knee for sure, I stated, he could hit me and I'd probably hide since he's bigger than me, but he was going to hit my mom and she has a baby nearly there. I didn't want the baby to get hurt, so I hurt him first and made sure he wouldn't do it again. My mom agreed to press charges for assault, child endangerment, and child abuse. The cops were also informed of how he verbally, mentally, and emotionally abused me and Mima and had at least once a voice recording of this happening in the past. Now I didn't go to the court cases because I was a child and everyone agreed to not bring in the children if it was avoidable, which it was since Mima had physical proof of his abuse. But later, I found out he was only allowed weekend visitation at my mom's convenience and had to pay child support. A few years afterwards, he got himself arrested for some reason and had his visitation rights revoked by the court. So yeah, don't attack my mom and don't screw with my little brother. My family will ruin you. Nothing was more gratifying than knowing this man can no longer see his only child because he thought he could get away with being an abusive jerk. Well, good for you! No one deserves to be treated like that! That's it for today, fellow humans. Thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys next time.